In my daily history, I was looking at a few items that were turning cheeks and people were not wanting to give kisses. Why? Well, it wasn't that they were mistakes. It was just like, oh, this is a new way of looking at this and I never thought of this before. And, geez, I hope I'm not in trouble. So the question today is from never-ending numbers of people who are trying to steal all my best secrets that make me the best angel that there is. The best secret for all angels is Claridad Central. Claridad Central, if anybody accuses you of doing magic, like white magic, angelic magic, you say no. Claridad Central will confirm to you that I don't do any magic. And Claridad Central for us means we don't do nothing. We are simply, as simple as you can make it, us. And we've decided a long time ago it was dangerous to do magic. Now, we always said that we're like the janitor at Hogwarts. Hogwarts School of Magic, where Harry Potter went. Now that janitor knew all this magic was going on because he could see it and hear it. But he was a squib, which means that even though he could see it and feel it, and it was all going on all around him, he wasn't a magical person. And they called that kind of person, muggles would be, like what we think most humans are when they're driving their car on that road over there. They're not magical people. The best magic they have is known as science. And the biggest problem with their science is it's highly based upon people's beliefs. Science, as we know it in, non-magical people, is based upon science, previous science. So it's like facts, empirical facts that we use to confirm our science works. And the belief in science is so strong that it's pretty much magical. But people don't think of themselves as magical at all. They simply are using the technology which is based upon the science. And can a magician overpower the power of science? Yes. A good idea is to check into the writings of lots of different authors who talk about simple ideas. And then you go looking to see how many other examples actually exist of people becoming squibs or being born as squibs in the case of the people who believe in science. How is this applicable to all of us? Well, when we use Claridad Central, we simply acknowledge that silence is golden. So I'm not going to tell you any more of my secrets. But if you want to lecture on Claridad Central, well, it came from a teaching by Dr. Stuart Wilde of the Metaphysical College of Columbia. And they tell us that Dr. Wilde cannot really give you the proper lecture because he's not here. So he's just suggesting that I try and wing it. In other words, I'm going to try and give you a lecture on what Claridad Central is. It is my protection. It's a protection. Because if Claridad Central is telling all of you that he's not doing anything, then it means that how could I be doing magic if I'm not doing anything? And if magic happens, I refer to Claridad Central and I say, it ain't mine, babe. And Claridad Central clarifies and says, it's because this one, through meditation, has discovered that the one that watches simply watches the silent awareness, and it's not considered to be the same thing as the voice that comes through this physical body. The physical voice is usually a separate personality, and the only personality that the silent awareness of this physical human body is given is pretty much being removed bit by bit, because it just seems to have been an error to afflict human bodies with the idea that only one spirit resides within this person. And in our experience through channeling, you can see all kinds of people channel on YouTube. It's very common. And which means that multiple personalities, it's very common for multiple personalities to come through the physical body. And if you're going to hold the physical body responsible for all the different spirits that use it, then you're abusing the slave. Because the physical body used by other spirits is enslaved by that, and they certainly are not responsible for what they say and do. Which goes and screws up the whole Muggles legal system, because they always say, this is you, because that's your body, and they don't understand how spirits come and go from physical bodies, because they're completely untrained in the way of, generally speaking, the spirit world. So anyway, Claridad is when you have an incredible experience where you seem to be doing magic. I mean, you identify yourself as this physical human body. That's who you are. And you see this body do, like it says abracadabra and waves its fingers. And then something happens, like there's an enormous crash of thunder. And you link those two things together, that person just did a magical act. So if someone said, you just did magic, you did abracadabra and it thundered, I would just say Claridad Central, honey. Which simply means it was a synchronicity of this particular reality that we're in. Who does these things? I don't do them. I don't do them. I don't do anything. I simply watch. I'm the silent observer, and I don't even know what this mouth is going to say. I pretty much know it's giving a talk on Claridad Central, but a few times this one here was given to forget what was going on and had to get caught up all again, because, you know, it's like a mind wipe sometimes what comes through. So this whole lesson in pretty much Muggles studies, which was a course offered at Hogwarts School of Magic, Muggles studies is a study about people who are born in society who believe that science rules everything. And they don't know science, these people. It's like they're constantly referring to the professor at the university or the doctor in the medical clinic, or, you know, so they don't know enough about the subject, so they refer to this so-called known authority who's protected usually by Snopes or some other fact-checking organization, who, when you go and look into them, they're like, you'd find this business in a strip mall somewhere. I mean, they're not really like, you know, the credentials they have is their name, Snopes, and it was picked by some person who didn't know anything about the subject. And Snopes, you know, do you believe Snopes? If Snopes says that's the way it is, then that's the way it is. Personally, at my particular place, living here in Mugglesville, I don't believe nobody. I assume everyone is lying to me. First of all, everything is lying to me. Because I know from the studies of Dr. David R. Hawkins and consciousness research, up until 1987 AD, the collective consciousness of humanity fell below, it was below 200, which is the realm of negativity. It's like, and that's where humanity as a whole was. So you got to assume in a planet where that calibrates under 200, and, you know, I was born into this particular planet in earlier than in 1987. So I was born into essentially a hell world. Planet Earth was a hell world officially up until 1987. And since that time, well, we had a few more confirmations, you know, in the years when Dr. Hawkins was still in a physical body that looked like Dr. Hawkins, when we all assumed that Dr. Hawkins was his physical body. But, you know, anyways, we don't have any more official Dr. Hawkins calibrated levels of human consciousness, because we were told that his body, his physical body he was using, died. But anyways, in those years when we did have Dr. Hawkins, and you know, it was like, it went above 200 and it would go to like 203. Now, you don't get to a decent number. Dr. Hawkins said 540 unconditional love is what you should aim to get to in this current lifetime. He said that's doable. Let's get going. Waste no time is how he started all his books. Go for 540. And then I would add, keep going. But he said, go for 540. That's your target for this lifetime. In other words, if you get someone muscle testing that's getting your consciousness that's below 540, then your ego has got more work to do. Your ego mind has got to get you to, well, beyond 540, but, you know, that's what Hawkins said. So if the calibrated level of consciousness of all of the humans put together is only 203, that's way under 540, which is shitty. So even at 203, people are still lying their asses off. So that's why I assume everything that's common knowledge, or, you know, like an affirmed, is pretty much, I just say, it's untrustworthy. So what am I going to do if you print this off from your computer? I'm probably going to use it to wipe my ass. And that's it. Or I could look at it and start laughing at it, because you can pick up all the logical flaws and all this basically demonic activity. If you were born into hell, then it's full of demons. Maybe they look human, but I'll tell you the truth. Humans can be possessed by demonic entities, which are also known as ego minds. So what do? Well, basically what you do to the ego minds of the demonics is you, the worst thing for anyone to say is that they do something, because I've already said I don't do anything. But there's a great play in consciousness going on where people like me appear to be doing things. And it's part of the story, because the story is being watched by muggles, and muggles don't understand nothing other than if you say abracadabra and it thunders, then you just did magic. Wow! You should go to Las Vegas and, you know, have a magic act there or something, you know, or you could do hypnotism like Ravine. People that are muggles are very interested in this stuff, but not enough to, you know, really explore it. It's pretty much, the bar has hired Ravine the hypnotist this Saturday night, and do you and your friends want to go? Yeah, you better buy tickets, because he's going to have a lot of entertaining, a lot of people are going to go and see Ravine. I saw a stage hypnotist, Mike Mandel, in about 1986, and it was at a college, and we heard about it. And it wasn't expensive, but it cost us some extra cash for the ticket for Mike Mandel, the hypnotist, and it was very entertaining. And we were very interested in doing hypnotism on people in those days. So, to sum it up, the best way to play for us is we simply say, if we see something magic, we attribute it to the field of consciousness that we're in. Some fields of consciousness are more apt. Some fields of consciousness are more apt, or more, in other words, more likely for you to see magic than others. And where exactly are those? It's not really known to me. That's just somebody is saying that, and I'm not even sure if that's true. I'm pretty much going to go on the shaman looks. Wherever he is, whatever calibrated level of consciousness field he's in, the shaman looks, if he can remember to look, and if he can remember that he looked. What does it mean? It means, well, shamanically, if you see some magic thing going on from a muggle's point of view, I mean, I was a muggle long before I studied anything magical. So I know muggles inside and out, because I was born muggles. I was born to a muggles science family. And magic was just like, you know, that's like a movie you go see, and it's all fake magic. It's not real magic, but, you know, it's kind of cute for a movie. But the idea that magic could be real, well, you have to get over the idea that that's foolish, and go and explore anyways. So, if I do see somebody say abracadabra and it was like a big thunderclap of thunder, well, what if it was kind of raining and it's already been thundering and lightning, and someone says abracadabra and it thunders? You're gonna go, there's no relation between that abracadabra and the thunder. But if it's a blue sky sunny day and someone says abracadabra and you hear thunder, that's magic. That's magic, because there's been no, you know, weather that looks like thunder. So I would really pay attention to that. I like to pay attention to thunderstorms anyways. They're still very interesting. But, you know, if you're a muggle, you really need, if it's going to be something that you're going to go, wow, that's like magic. That's not supposed to happen in our world. It's science. There's no magic. Well, then you might start looking for, okay, what's a scientific way that I can create a magic trick? I could put you in a holodeck on the Starship Enterprise, and then magic things could happen because you're on a holodeck. How do holodecks work? Well, it's basically advanced computer systems and technologies, holographic technologies, that make it, that simulates a place like the ocean on planet Earth, or a bar on planet Earth. So, do we live in a holodeck? It's unknown. Which came first, the holodeck or the place where someone invented a holodeck? So your takeaway, most important thing I told you, is to get your consciousness, your personal consciousness of you, ego mind, to 540 or better on the scale of human consciousness, the one usually referred to by Dr. David R. Hawkins. How do you get to 540 on the scale of human consciousness? A very good idea would be to get a hold of Dr. Hawkins' material. You can order his books, or you can go on to YouTube and you can look for David R. Hawkins. We're told by Dr. Hawkins' biography that he wrote himself that he was a doctor of medicine in the United States of America, and he specialized in psychiatry, which is study of the mind, and particularly diseases of the mind. And then he had a whole other life called his spiritual life, and he combined all that information in his books and recordings. So the first thing you need to do is to figure out how to muscle test so that you can do your own consciousness calibrations using your own body. And that way you can figure out where your consciousness is on the scale of human consciousness and where everybody else's is. And then start studying all this stuff. And if you get the book Transcending the Levels of Consciousness, you can see what Dr. Hawkins wrote as a helpful hint for transcending the current level of consciousness you're in and moving to another level. It would seem stupid to go to a lower level of consciousness when you're pursuing a higher consciousness. But if you're a demonic entity, you might try and figure out a way to get people to drop in consciousness. And Dr. Hawkins did give some examples of people who did actually drop in their personal consciousness calibration number. And he gives some information like that. If you're demonically inclined, I'm not going to tell you what they are. But if you go through all the Dr. Hawkins material, the stuff that I had available to me, he did mention some things.